Welcome back to MANOVAAC in conversation with Guruji. I, Sirisha.
And myself, Dr. Seema. And we welcome you to this episode. It's being special because now we have audience with us. And here is first question for Guruji.
Guruji, even though one does sadhana and prayers regularly, the mind is flooded with thoughts and not all of them are good thoughts. Then you begin to question your spiritual growth. How does one know that we are growing spiritually and not just fooling oneself?
Yeah, the first a perception that has to change is that thoughts are not going to stop. You're always going to have thoughts. I mean, the day thoughts stop means you're either dead or you're in deep samadhi, one of the two. So under all normal circumstances, thoughts are going to come. And obviously not all thoughts are pious and good and loving, and that's a utopian idea and situation that doesn't exist in the real world. So yes, negative thoughts are going to come. The whole idea is that A, do not chase those negative thoughts. B, do not get emotionally involved with those negative thoughts. You cannot stop them completely from coming because the mind is too fast for us to really put some kind of a break on it, So yes, they will come, but the sooner we get rid of them and the sooner we learn how to detach ourselves emotionally from those negative thoughts, the better for us. Now, that is where really the spiritual sadhana works, or it kind of has effect. That the propensity and the frequency of negative thoughts come down as you do more sadhana. The thoughts will come, but either they will not be very strong, you will be able to emotionally detach from them, and over a period of time, again it is over a period of time because nothing happens in sadhana overnight. Yes, the frequency of those thoughts will come down, and that is the best test of your sadhana, that the less and less negative thoughts you get, and the less you get involved with those negative thoughts and pamper them and nurture them, that is the spiritual progress, and that is where the sadhana is very important.
Okay, here I would like audience, if you have any question on this topic, then you may choose to ask. Okay, but I have a question, Guruji. Will there be any stage in spiritual evolution where negative thoughts actually stop completely?
Yeah, that, of course, absolutely. I mean, the more you purify yourself, and see, when we say purify, real purification is purification of the mind. Okay, so physical purification is a very small aspect of it, and sometimes it becomes irrelevant also. The main purification is mental. So as you purify mentally, yes, of course, there will and should come a point where not a single negative thought should come to you. But for that, a lot of sadhana and a lot of transformation has to take place.
But meanwhile, even if you are getting couple of thoughts in a day, we should not feel
okay.
upset.
No. It's not something to feel upset about. It's something that should alert you.
Okay.
And that awareness should be very high, that okay, I am getting these negative thoughts and I got to do something about it. That awareness is more important than getting upset about it.
Or feeling guilty.
Or feeling guilty or feeling bad. Or embarrassed or anything.
That's true.
More than that, be aware and say, okay, no, I don't want to really get these thoughts in, because once those thoughts come in, the emotions follow. I mean, they are interlinked, I mean, the thoughts come with the emotions come with the thoughts. So, and you'll always have challenging situations around you. So it's not that you're going to live in some kind of isolation where there are no chance of getting negative thoughts. There will be. I mean, life is like that.
When should we get really alert about negative thoughts? Sometimes they're just fleeting, like they don't even stay, and after a minute you don't even remember.
Yeah. As I said, the moment you get involved with those negative thoughts, The moment you get emotionally attached to those negative thoughts, that's when the problem starts. If they come and go and has no consequence on you emotionally, then it's fine. I mean, then they are of little consequence.
Okay.
But yes, gradually that also will come down and should come down.
True.
But initially, what you have to do is to detach yourself from your negative thoughts and not let them overrule you or overrule your emotional state.
Okay.
That is very important, and that awareness is what sadhana brings to
And
you.
the temptation to indulge in that negative thought.
And the temptation
Hold
to
it
indulge
back.
in it, in self-pity, in all kinds of other negative emotions. It shouldn't give rise to a chain of negative emotions.
So, would like little more guidance on this, Guruji. You just mentioned self-pity. Another is complain and blame.
Yeah, blame,
And,
absolutely. Blame is one of the biggest
and
ones.
I think third thing is
Anger.
Anger and understanding from where this negative thought is coming. Like, what is the root
Introspection.
cause?
Maybe, yeah, of course, you
Introspection,
should
maybe.
introspect and find out where the genesis of that thought lies, particularly if they keep coming often or repeatedly and upsetting you over and over again. Sometimes there's a lot of deep-rooted sadness or disappointment or hurt. And they just keep coming back at you like it's like a magnet. It keeps drawing that, and so that is where sadhana really helps to
Absolutely.
insulate you against negative thoughts.
So rather than just feeling bad, let's do something about it.
Yeah, exactly. There's no sense of in just worrying about it. You better have a solution to it.
And you have given lots of solution, Guruji.
Yeah,
you have been, in fact, more into solutions
Yeah.
rather than discussing
Because life is all about solutions.
solutions. Okay. I hope you got the answer to this question, which I think arises in every sadhak's mind. And we all know how we are so critical about the moment we get a single negative thought, we pounce on ourselves and try to
Most of the time, we don't realize we have them. We
have
only
them.
realize them when we get really upset about it.
upset about it. Thank you,
Good
Guruji. Yes, the next question is, Guruji, you have taught us many spiritual tools, like I just mentioned, to work on our weaknesses. But sometimes we feel the impact of our weaknesses are so strong that we have a doubt about our improvement.
Yeah.
The question is asked by Nilima Chindarkar.
Okay. See, now where it concerns weaknesses, it's a little different because each personality is different, and every personality has certain personality flaws. Every personality has gone through experiences, particularly in the first 20, 30 years of their lives, which give rise to certain kind of I would say shortcomings. Okay. Now, sometimes those shortcomings are very overpowering. If those experiences are very intense. At times, we are born with certain kind of samskaras or traits, personality traits. We bring them in to resolve certain karmas, complete certain karmas. So yes, sometimes as this person has written, the weaknesses are quite overpowering and they are quite debilitating. Now, here a lot of conscious effort and I would say very rigorous sadhana is required to get rid of personality traits. See, emotions, mental disturbance and all, it's relatively easy to tackle it with these ordinary healing tools
They're
that we
still
have.
superficial.
Yeah, it's not only superficial, but I would say they are far easier to deal with. But personality traits which are imbibed in you, which are inbuilt in you, those to uproot is like uprooting a huge tree. You know how difficult it is to do that. It is like that. And that uprooting takes a long period of time and a lot of determination. But yes, personality traits can lead to certain very serious weaknesses, which ultimately have to be dealt with. I mean, that is the whole idea of taking a human birth. You know, I mean, otherwise we are not here to just eat, drink, sleep, and have fun. We have to work on these weaknesses. So where it is a weakness, it's serious, and you have to work on that, and try to overcome that. If not all of them together, at least the major ones, or one by one.
Guruji, what I find is like, now, suppose I know my weakness very distinctly. How can I target that one particular weakness? Like, now,
But there are ways to do it. You got to take a little help from somebody, maybe. Sometimes it is medical help. Sometimes it is a kind of a life coach or a guru or whoever can really guide you and give you solutions. See, here talking is not the only thing. I mean, I can't just sit here and tell you, okay, just do this, and your problem solved. No, there has to be step-by-step guidance or proper direction how to get rid of those weaknesses.
yes.
So you have to get in touch with somebody who's, if you can't figure it out yourself, if you don't know what to do, then get in touch with somebody who's quite an expert in giving you the solution to overcome those weaknesses.
Guruji, I wish it was so simple first to spot our weaknesses. I hope someday somebody will develop our some software where we can just scan and know our weaknesses.
No, that software is there in you. It's just that people don't want to see it. People don't want to admit to it. That's
Even if they're aware, Guruji, sometimes to articulate it to somebody and
It's
expose
difficult.
that feeling that, oh, I'll
because
expose
it
myself.
exposes you. Correct. Absolutely right. Yeah, I agree with you.
Anyone has questions on this topic? Okay, so we can move on to the next topic.
Sure.
There are two questions, Guruji. How to keep certain parameters to check our progress, or just believe that our practices are helping somewhere and continue to do so? How to increase our willpower to do our sadhana?
$1 million question, right?
Yeah, both again by Nilima.
Yeah. Okay, first I'll take the parameters. See, the parameters depends on which level of evolution you have reached. So, I mean, somebody who's in the thick of ignorance and grossness in life, for them the parameters will be very different. Okay, for a person who's very rajasic and who's very into the world and in fame and making money and stuff like that, the parameters will change again. Somebody who's a sadhak and is actively on the spiritual path, the parameters will obviously be different. So there are different parameters for different levels of evolution of a human being. But right now I'll take only for a sadhak, because we're mostly concerned with people who do sadhana. See, when a person is doing sadhana, transformation is mandatory. Change is mandatory. If there is no change, that means either you're not doing your sadhana or you're doing some rubbish. Because sadhana must bring change. Now, that change must be perceptible and satisfying. Okay? So, when we talk of change, what kind of change is evident or will show evidence of your doing the sadhana and succeeding in doing it? So, here the first parameter is a sense of happiness. I mean, if you are miserable, depressed, discontented, and completely devoid of even few moments of joy or laughter or fun in life, then obviously your sadhana is not working at all. I mean, I'm not saying the person has to be like dancing with joy 24/7. It's not like that. But there has to be a certain level of
Bliss or
happiness that is perceptible to them and to others. You know.
and this happiness, I think, is not because of any reason. It's
No,
because you're
it is something that just arises in you. It is not because a situation is good or a situation because that is pleasure. It shouldn't come from a material thing. You know, if it comes from material, then it categorizes into pleasure, which is buyable. You can buy it. This is not something you can buy. Happiness is not something you can buy. It arises from within. So your first parameter is shift to happiness from misery, depression, discontentment, blame. You know, being just unhappy all the time. Let's put it that way. Then the second parameter, according to me, would be how you handle your relationships.
Absolutely.
How you understand them, how you deal with them, how you solve your personal problems. See, business problems or work problems, they have a certain pattern of getting solved. They have manuals to solve them. Your machines don't work, you have manuals to solve them. Your office is not running well, you call in these so-called consultants and get your setup running well. Those things are different. But in interpersonal relationships, if you are a disaster, you can't really be a success in life, or at least not once you get on the spiritual path. It essentially means you should know how to deal with your relationships and improve them and find solution to the problems that come up in relationships. So this is the second parameter. And the third parameter is the reduction in your negative emotions. I mean, to what level do you feel strong and intense negative emotions? That has to come down. If these three things are happening simultaneously, or one after another, or in any proportion, then know that you are progressing. There is progress. You don't need to get a certificate for it. You won't have a machine or a thermometer or barometer to measure it. But you know that you are progressing if these three factors, these three parameters are showing change. Okay? Now, coming to your second question, how to increase willpower. Willpower is possibly the most critical, you can say, ingredient of a sadhak's life. Any sadhana will require a heavy dose of willpower, for the simple reason that spiritual sadhana is incredibly boring, repetitive, and till you reach your goal, it is very repetitive and doing the same thing over and over again. You know, so it requires incredible willpower to keep on doing it and not give up and say, okay, this is not. I mean, I'm not getting entertained by this thing. You know, so what the hell? Or you know that desire just rises for a few days, maybe a few weeks. And then you say, to hell with it. I'd rather go and see a movie. I'd rather go and sit in a pub. Or rather party with my friends. That's all you can do. I mean, it's not that. It's not that you have to give up that. But the attraction to do sadhana is very limited. And the attraction to leave it and say, okay, enough is enough now.
Distractions.
The distractions are tremendous, and there's a very strong, you can say, urge to give it up and say, okay, I enough of this now. I've had enough of it. Or you should do very little, which does not significantly make a difference.
Guruji, few seem to be born with it, and because I know many who can do same thing for years and not complain or don't lose interest.
That's
and
fantastic.
Here I am like, after a couple of months I said, okay, I am doing the same thing. Can I change? Can I do something else?
Yeah. So that is where willpower is extremely important.
How to develop it?
Well, there are ways of developing. In the sense, if you energize your third eye with whatever means, that will significantly improve your willpower. But at the end of the day, according to me, the final goal should be attractive enough to motivate you.
Okay.
Because without self motivation, no other external means can really give you that kind of willpower. So you have to be self motivated, and to be self motivated, that goal should be attractive enough. The problem is for people that goal is not attractive enough,
I know.
and that is where you fail.
Who wants self-realization?
No, many want it, but they want it easy. That's the thing.
I know.
It's not that people don't want it. No, they'd love to get it. Because, you ask anyone, like, what do you...
If you are going to
what do you want to do?
Be
They'll say, oh, we want moksha. We want to get out of this cycle of life, and then we've seen enough of life. We're fed up of it. Now we want out. Fine, you want out, but there's a lot that goes before that. I mean, are you determined enough to do it? And is that motivation enough for you?
True.
So end of the day, it's the motivation. It's how precious that goal is.
Only then you can work tirelessly.
Only then you can work tirelessly. Correct. And not give up. Because it's so easy to give up.
Yes.
As I said, it's incredibly boring. And I know it from my personal experience. But the sweet part of it is when you achieve your goal, and then you look back and you say, oh my God, you know what? Every moment was worth it. Every minute was worth it. Every effort was worth it. But only after you reach your goal. That's when you realize it.
Guruji, I think just want to share my own feeling about it. After listening from you for years together, yes, initially, because I was troubled, maybe I wanted to get out, and moksha or salvation was my aim. As I got to know from you more and more, purity became my aim. And as long as I see that, okay, I'm purifying, somehow I feel that, okay, I can do it without doing much sadhana. My josh of doing sadhana is reduced somewhere.
Yeah, but then you won't achieve the heights that you can.
Okay.
See, because if you're planning to reach the summit, the way to the summit is very steep. So that means you're happy with the plateau, but you're not willing to take the difficult road, the road that is less traveled. So for that you need determination.
As of now, maybe it's not attractive.
You may be content with the way your life is going. It may be happy,
so now
free-flowing.
in such situation, now how
So then
push? Because now,
but it will happen naturally.
or
I
I
guess.
just have to wait till that fire again.
Yeah, you can wait till that fire lights up.
Because
and
at one time I had a lot of fire and I worked hard. I meditated a lot, and now I think those effects are visible. So I have slacked somewhere in my.
But yeah. So you've reached a height, then you plateau. It always goes like that. You climb, you plateau. You climb, you plateau. It's like that. So you have to self-motivate. That's the only way to increase your determination. And you got to feel that the end goal is really worth every moment.
This sentence has hit me somewhere because
You have to create a new goalpost.
Okay.
yes.
Yes.
Okay, audience, do you have any question on this? Yes, Asha, quick.
So, Guruji, when you were, had kept a goal of self-enlightenment, or, what's the mindset? Like, is it the love? Is it the motivation? Or what is the driving factor which keeps the fire burning? Because of the ups and lows. So, what, if you could please clarify on that.
I know what you mean. I guess before that stage, I think there was a realization that everything is ephemeral, everything is temporary. All I will take with me is my progress. So any other kind of achievement is absolutely temporary and ephemeral. It is going to go away the moment I stop breathing. It's gone. But my progress doesn't go. That stays with me lifetime to lifetime. Therefore, that was the biggest motivating factor, that let me do something which I can take forward rather than leave behind. I mean, no matter how rich I become, no matter how famous I become, it's all going to stay here and it's going to wipe out. It's not going to be mine the moment I die. But this is going to be mine permanently. And that realization was probably I think the biggest motivating factor in my life. I mean, among other things, among having a guru like Babaji and all that apart. But even with that, you can lose your motivation. So this was the biggest thing.
Wow. Thank you so much. And here we end today's episode and see you soon in the next episode. Thank you so much.